vacate, lad, and let the division crack on.
Interim's a genuine title.
The people who say it's not a genuine title have never won a title in life.
Yeah, people keep saying, oh, you're probably going to end up like Tom when you win it, it'll get upgraded. And why would that happen though? Because people are saying Ilya's not going to be back for at least a year. I don't know, lad. I want to show everyone that I can beat them, but at the same time, if I have me waiting, like Tom was waiting for John, then no. Just vacate, lad, and let the division crack on.
I think it should be Paddy and Ilya. I think that's
The atmosphere is absolutely electric as Arman Tsarukyan makes his thoughts crystal clear. He's got strong opinions about this interim title fight, openly stating he wants Justin Gaethje to beat Paddy Pimblett because he believes the British fighter will run from him after winning.
Justin Gaethje is fighting Paddy Pimblett coming up. Who do you favor?
I want Justin to beat Paddy. Yeah.
This temporary belt situation comes from some seriously unusual circumstances in the lightweight division. The current unbeaten champion, Ilia Topuria, has stepped away from competition temporarily to deal with personal matters, including a divorce, which has thrown the entire weight class into chaos. The organization's decision to establish an interim championship while Topuria sorts out his private life has shocked the MMA community, particularly since the top-ranked contender gets completely shut out of this opportunity. Tsarukyan stays optimistic about his championship prospects despite being sidelined for this particular bout. He expressed confidence that a title opportunity will materialize before the year ends. Though the exact timeline remains uncertain, his projections suggest either a summer showdown or a championship finale awaits him. The wild card in all of this appears to be when Topuria decides to make his comeback.
Justin, he's gonna fight with me, but Paddy, if Paddy wins, he's gonna try to avoid me and trying not to fight me because he's not man like just.
Betting odds delivered one of the bigger shockers. When bookmakers first dropped their numbers, Pimblett opened as the betting favorite, a development that left many industry watchers stunned. Laura Sanko, a respected UFC commentator and analyst, had to double-check when she first saw the odds, struggling to believe Gaethje was listed as the underdog. While Sanko acknowledges Pimblett's impressive talents and the diverse arsenal he brings to fights, his positioning as such a significant favorite seemed questionable, considering the experience differential between these fighters. As we move deeper into fight week, the betting market has remained surprisingly stable, with Pimblett sitting at -25 while Gaethje holds at +185 across major sports books. This pricing reflects public sentiment that has proven remarkably resistant to the typical line movement that occurs when sharp bettors and fight week dynamics usually influence the numbers. The stability of these odds suggests genuine conviction among wagering public that the younger, less battle-tested fighter represents the safer investment.
Which he is, I believe, currently around a 2-1 favorite to do so.
He is?
Yeah, a little surprising there. I know he opened as the favorite, and people are like, I had Eddie Alvarez on the show, and he's like, he loves Justin Gaethje, obviously, and he's like, once I go to the sports book, Justin's not going to be the underdog anymore. My bet's going to change it alone, but clearly not. A lot of back Paddy in this fight.
That's fascinating. I mean, it's not like I think Paddy should be some ginormous underdog. But that number being so far the other way does surprise me. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it does. But then I look at the stuff on Justin's side. I don't know if you saw that thing about the ingrown hair, the staph infection. That's one thing. Trevor Whitman just did an interview with Brett Okamoto at ESPN, basically saying like, this is it for us. If we don't win this, we're not sticking around for money fights or super fights. Like, kind of applying that pressure there. So I kind of worry for where Justin Gaethje's mind is at, because he was going to hold out and retire if he didn't get a fight like this either, it seemed like.
Yeah. I just think Justin is so experienced, so violent, so he brings an element that none of Paddy's past opponents has had. That being said, there are times where, I think there'd be a lot of opportunities for Paddy to get a submission. So that's what makes it a compelling.
Some drama emerged leading up to the event when social media buzz centered around a noticeable blemish on Gaethje's neck captured in training footage. Speculation ran wild with theories about possible staph infections, a legitimate worry considering how rapidly such conditions can spread throughout combat sports environments. Gaethje quickly shut down the chatter through his social platforms, explaining the mark was simply an ingrown hair that was healing properly. He expressed annoyance with the rumor mongering creating unnecessary storylines around his health, particularly problematic timing given the organization's sensitivity around such issues.
Gaethje has staff. Justin Gaethje has staff. That's it. He's totally compromised. He's gonna lose to Paddy. Oh no! I mean, look at that on his neck there. That is just disgusting. Gaethje, man, cover that up. I don't want to be looking at that. Now, Gaethje's come out and said it is an ingrown hair and breath hanging out of my mouth, Nostradamus. That is a big word for you to be using, Justin Gaethje. I don't even know what that means. You might be low-key a scholar. Getting punched in the face, you might be the first person who's getting punched in the face a lot and somehow become smarter. Now, I know people are going to be saying built-in excuse, yada, yada, yada. Here's what I'm going to tell you. It doesn't really change much. I've already predicted Paddy's going to win. I've already predicted that he's going to absolutely annihilate Justin Gaethje for a multitude of different reasons, right? We already know that Justin Gaethje has, like, no BJJ. It is non-existent. Bro almost got submitted by Rafael Fiziev. Do you know how bad at grappling you have to be to get submitted by Rafael Fiziev or come close to it? No, this guy's cooked. If this fight touches the ground, it's game over. On the feet, at least Justin has a chance to land something, but the problem with Gaethje is that he's just not very precise with his shots. Like, he's not very good at actually landing the shot where he wants to. Like, yes, he's landed knockout shots due to his power, but he's not a precise puncher, like, at all. I think that Paddy's going to try to maintain the distance. He's going to utilize some of his crafty kicks, and I think he's going to eventually try to shoot a takedown, which he doesn't even have to get all the way. All he has to do is get Gaethje's back. If he gets Gaethje back, it's a wrap. GG.
The retirement narrative surrounding this fight adds massive emotional stakes to the proceedings. Trevor Whitman, who has coached Gaethje throughout his professional journey, spoke candidly about what lies ahead depending on the outcome. The veteran trainer made it abundantly clear this represents their last championship run together, stating unequivocally that a loss would trigger retirement rather than continuing as a divisional gatekeeper. He stated without hesitation that this is their final shot. If they don't win this fight, they won't continue. They refuse to become gatekeepers chasing money fights. Justin could keep fighting, but he knows he needs to be there for his family and protect his health. However, if they capture this belt, the ambitious goal would be multiple title defenses. Since they don't currently hold the championship, they must seize this opportunity. Michael Bisping added his voice to the conversation with his prediction favoring Pimblett to win. The former champion turned analyst broke down his reasoning, acknowledging that Gaethje possesses superior boxing fundamentals and grappling credentials, though the latter skill set remains largely unused in competition. Bisping noted that even if Gaethje chose to utilize wrestling, taking Pimblett down would create unique dangers given the British fighter's submission abilities. The key factors in Bisping's analysis center on age and wear. At 31, Pimblett remains in his athletic prime with relatively minimal damage accumulated. Meanwhile, Gaethje has absorbed years of punishing striking battles.
155 pounds. I don't see anyone beating Ilia Topuria. I just don't. Not Paddy, not Justin. Yeah, all right, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, and he's the dark horse. Obviously, Paddy and Justin are fighting for the interim title. That's an interesting fight because Justin, better boxer, better wrestling, never uses the wrestling. Even if he did use the wrestling, you wouldn't really want to take Paddy Pimblett down. Paddy's a lot younger, a lot less miles on the clock, a lot less wear and tear. I'm kind of early leaning towards Paddy Pimblett in that fight. But who's the undisputed champ at the end of 2026? So yeah, 2026, Topuria will still be the champ. Yeah, there's Arman Tsarukyan out there, but I don't think that fight will materialize just yet.
Pimblett has entered this fight with tremendous confidence, predicting a finish against his veteran opponent. The Liverpool native has worked extensively with teammate Luke Rockhold throughout camp to sharpen his striking arsenal. Rockhold boasts an impressive finishing rate during his flawless UFC run, and Pimblett feels convinced this partnership has elevated his technical striking game beyond what Gaethje demonstrates in fights. The game plan involves using range management to keep the power puncher at bay before capitalizing with heavy shots. Pimblett expressed genuine shock when studying tape of how frequently Gaethje absorbs clean punches during his contests, suggesting this vulnerability represents an exploitable weakness.
Oliveira, but you know what I mean, it's a new style for him. You're not just the typical up-and-coming scrapper brawler that's going to get into a fun scrap with Gaethje. There's more intricacies to your game with the grappling as well. So how do you think you're going to get this one done?
I think I finish him wherever the fight goes, to be honest. Obviously, I know he can bang, but every fight we get a breakdown made of our opponents, and it actually shocks me how much he gets hit. And I know he takes one to give one, but you can't really just do that. At this level, that's why he's lost to people like Eddie Alvarez, Dustin Poirier, Charles, because you can't just take one to give one, and I'm not going to just be standing there to let him hit me back, you know what I mean? So, be using me range, keeping him on the outside, and I've got a feeling I'm going to knock him out, to be honest. I don't know what it is. I've just got a sneaky suspicion I'm going to knock him out. You know, I've been doing a lot of rounds with Luke Riley for this camp, and Luke's got much better technical striking than Justin Gaethje. And I'm having a lot of success sparring with Luke, and obviously one of my coaches, Ellis, who used to fight himself, he's the exact same build as Justin. He's 5'10" with a 70-inch reach. And I've been doing rounds with him. He's literally, because he doesn't fight anymore, lad, and he's just a coach, he's just done Justin's style for me. He hasn't got his own style, he's been doing Justin for me, and just the bits what we're working, I can see me knocking him out or dropping him and then submitting him. People are going on about the takedown defense, but if I want to take him down, I will take him down, lad. Simple as. But I can see myself dropping him, ending up on top and either TKOing him or submitting him or TKOing him a ground and pound.
Michael Chandler delivered perhaps the boldest prediction, backing Gaethje to win this fight while also expecting him to eventually defeat Topuria in a future unification bout. Given Chandler's recent octagon experience against Pimblett in London, that first-hand encounter revealed attributes casual fans might overlook, including Pimblett's reach advantage, versatile kicking attack, and composure under fire. Yet Chandler sees something in Gaethje's violence and danger that few across any division can match. This bold prediction of Gaethje conquering the undefeated Topuria, a fighter Chandler previously called possibly the most technically sound athlete in the entire organization, underscores his belief in the veterans championship potential.
Also have been on record and said that Paddy Pimblett is better than a lot of people think he is. You know, because of his, his haircut and the way he talks and the, some of the, the strength of schedule. People don't give him a lot of credit, but when I fought him in April in Miami, I'm not going to say that I was surprised because I was expecting the best version of Paddy, but he's better than a lot of people give him credit for. He's got long reach, good kicks, pretty darn patient and composed in there. But Gaethje's a whole different animal. So if I had to bet, which I can't, but if I had to lean one direction, I'd go Justin Gaethje, interim champion, and then he beats Ilia Topuria later on this year.
Tony Ferguson offered psychological insights that extended beyond pure physical evaluation. He highlighted the mental burden Gaethje carries from 2 previous failed title attempts, suggesting such experiences create emotional baggage that resurfaces during championship moments. The weight of repeated setbacks contrasts sharply with Pimblett's fresh excitement about experiencing his first title shot without the ghosts of past failures haunting him.
It's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again, Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness in mind.
Uriah Faber examined who performs better when technical skill deteriorates into chaotic exchanges. While both fighters willingly engage in wars, Faber identified a special quality in Gaethje's response to chaos, appearing genuinely energized when fights transform into brutal affairs.
Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to get down and throw fist for fist, and he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants it.
Several analysts voiced displeasure about the matchmaking itself, arguing Pimblett's rapid rise reflects promotional priorities over merit, especially when compared to Sorokian's more accomplished resume.
You're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Arman.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really that's the definition of a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings, and it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, some, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Sarukian or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertaining.
Eddie Alvarez, bringing unique perspective from his previous victory over Gaethje, emphasized that preparation trumps natural ability. He warned that Gaethje's suffocating pressure proves impossible to truly replicate in training, potentially leaving Pimblett unprepared for the actual fight night intensity.
8 years ago, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket. And he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Charles Oliveira predicted Pimblett would win by submission unless Gaethje secured an early finish, believing the odds undervalued the grappling advantage.
I think 5 rounds. If this is the common take, everybody gonna say that, not only me, but if Justin Gaethje doesn't stop him on the beginning, he's going to lose. I think everybody thinks like that. And I think Paddy Pimblett will beat Justin Gaethje. That's what I think.
This collection of perspectives, predictions, and storylines transforms UFC 324 into far more than a standard interim title bout, representing career crossroads, promotional philosophies, and the eternal battle between experience and youth in mixed martial arts.